Most of these questions have come from one YouTube subscriber, Bill C. in Minnesota. So Bill asks, do most truck stops keep the washer fluid buckets stocked, like the opposite of most gas stations? They do in most cases. The larger national chains have staff that handles that fairly well, although in some cases they could do better. Bill goes on to write, you truckers get to have a steering wheel knob? You lucky bastards. Well, some people think I am a bastard. Most of them are ex-wives. It's nice to know that you think I'm a lucky one. You can be a lucky bastard too. They sell these at most truck stops, and I've even seen them at Walmart. So head on down to your local truck stop or Walmart, and you can be a lucky bastard too. I'll show my son your channel. He loves eLuco79 and Freeway Jim. Thanks for sharing these links. I've subscribed to both and have borrowed some ideas from them for use in my own videos. I'll share these links in the description area for anyone who wants to check them out, and I recommend that you check them out. By the way, I'm getting unloaded here at a receiver, and so there's trucks and whatnot backing into doors near me. So if you hear that beeping, that's what's going on. That, and if you see the light changing, it's because of the sunlight reflecting off the sides of trailers as they go by. So when you're chasing an empty, you're not paid for that, correct? Because I'm not a company driver, most of the time that is correct. My independent contractor agreement includes payment for 2 or 3 tiers of excessive out-of-route trailer chases. The first tier starts at 75 miles, but it has to be out of route to count. If I'm deadheading at 150 miles and get routed to a location 100 miles along that route, and the location is only 10 miles out of route, then it doesn't meet the threshold. Because I'm only going 10 miles off wherever, whatever route I'm traveling, usually an interstate. I'm only going 10 miles off, 10 miles back. That's only 20 miles out of route. Does it cost you time and fuel? Absolutely. How about when you're pulling an empty? Are you still paid? Paid less than full load? I am not paid for pulling an empty trailer. Since I'm not a company driver and choose my own loads, I'm in control of how far my deadhead travel is. Company drivers are normally paid the same mileage rate whether they're loaded or empty, so it's incumbent upon the company's load planners to minimize the amount of unproductive travel. There has been one exception to this, however. A national retail chain needed one of their trailers moved from Phoenix, Arizona to Fort Worth, Texas, and I happened to get that load. In this case, the trailer was the load. I was paid quite well to move an empty trailer 1,000 miles. I never did find out why the company wanted that trailer moved, but I was happy to do it. Do you ever haul something that is not a full 78 to 80,000 pound load? All the time. By the way, 80,000 pounds is my maximum gross weight and includes the weight of the tractor with fuel, the trailer, and the load. The largest load I can carry is less than 46,000 pounds, and I'd have to have really low fuel to be able to do that. But my average load is less than 30,000 pounds. When I used to pull reefer, most of my loads were over 40,000 pounds. What factors are taken into consideration for paying you? Distance, weight, delivery elapsed time? Distance is a large factor, but so is supply and demand. Freight haulers are a commodity to shippers. If there are more trucks than there are loads in a given market, then rates go down. If there is more freight loads than trucks, rates go up. Rates are expressed in dollars and cents per mile. There are some markets that always have lots of freight to haul, such as Southern California, where there are lots of manufacturers in addition to Asian imports through the Port of Los Angeles. There are other factors too, such as multiple pickups or deliveries. The video series where I pick up a load of paper products in Neely's Landing, Missouri, and haul it to the Houston area to make 5 deliveries paid extra for the 4 additional deliveries. Bill writes, I started driving for Uber a couple months ago, so I am now lightly cognizant of having to care about time, distance, fuel to maximize my income and minimize expenses. Bill, you're already dealing with some of the same considerations that I do. So if you lose your IT job, you already have the skills necessary to be an owner-operator independent contractor. You say that you as a driver are responsible for making sure the trailer passes inspection. Yes, it is the driver's responsibility to ensure that both the tractor and trailer are roadworthy. Additionally, load securement is another concern, although I rarely have to deal with this. I'll try to include some examples in future videos. Flatbed haulers really have to deal with this, as you might imagine. In a previous video, I saw you note that one of the 3 rear top marker lights was out. In that case, do you have to replace the bulb, or do you have to pay to replace the bulb, or is that Schneider's responsibility? Since the trailer is company equipment, Schneider is responsible for maintenance costs. In the example you mentioned, I would have had to take that trailer to a shop to be repaired because I couldn't physically reach the light. Plus, I think those lights are hardwired and it's beyond the reasonable repair capability of most drivers. Some of the other trailer lights are readily available at most truck stops and easily replaced by drivers. I do get reimbursed for lights that I replace on trailers. Meaning if I go into the truck stop and buy a replacement light to replace on a specific trailer, I will get reimbursed. What do you do if you notice a glaring problem with a trailer? Do you contact Schneider to let them know? It depends. If the trailer can be moved and we have a terminal nearby with a repair facility, I'll head straight there. If not, I'll call the maintenance department and they'll route me to an authorized location and set up the repair. If the trailer can't be moved, or if I break down somewhere, maintenance will arrange to dispatch a repair service truck. And then I presume they reroute you to a different load so you're not sitting idle? No, not in most cases. Once I hook the load, it and any problems are mine. There are rare occasions when a trailer is really messed up or the shops in the area are seriously backlogged. In those cases, they'll unassign me from the load. Of course, if it was a load to get me home, or if I had an awesome load pre-booked at that destination, then that would not be okay. If a CVI, I assume you mean Commercial Vehicle Inspector, catches a problem that you can do nothing about, like the broken weld you mentioned, are you still penalized for it? Yes, remember it's the driver's responsibility to ensure both the tractor and trailer are roadworthy. I got a fix-it ticket in that example. We got the trailer into a shop and had it fixed by the next morning. It didn't cost me any money, but it did cost me points. Does Schneider reimburse you if you get an expensive ticket like that? Or was it your responsibility to not take the trailer in the first place, therefore it's on you? I had to take the trailer, and it was on me. It's the driver's responsibility to identify any issues and get them resolved before inspectors have a chance to look for them. Bill has some questions about my cat, Trucker Kitty. I don't know Schneider's policies, but they allow animals in their trucks? No, Schneider does not allow pets in their trucks. There is no prohibition on pets for non-company drivers in their own trucks, however, which is how it is in my case. Does your cat get free rein of the cab while you're driving, or do you keep him or her penned up? Trucker Kitty has free rein of the truck. He's got 4 or 5 places where he sleeps, and I'll try to include him in more videos. And have you ever penned up a cat? It doesn't go well. Worse than a toddler who needs a nap. Would they allow other types of contained animals like birds, rodents, fish, etc.? How about dogs? Most drivers with pets in their trucks do have dogs, and sometimes more than one. As for other types of critters, you'd have to take into consideration how they would handle the near constant movement and vibration of the ride. You'd think the company wouldn't want the messes associated with animals, nor complaints from other employees who might be allergic to animals. I believe that is the main reason most companies don't allow pets in company trucks. So he won't get down while you're driving? It's quite a jump from the top bunk. He does jump to and from the back of my seat, but not when I'm sitting in it. I see a cat bed in the passenger seat. Does he spend time in there while you're driving? Yes, when he can't get up top, he alternates between the lower bunk and the passenger seat. What if he starts yowling while you're driving in a spot that you can't pull over, like the single lane construction areas in your Mount Shasta video? Do you just sit and listen to him yowl until you can pull over? Yeah, pretty much. Do you encounter other drivers in your travels, or is it pretty solitary with just the occasional friendly greeting? I rarely encounter the same driver more than once, and I'm an introvert, so I don't care. I'm naturally a loner. Do you visit truck stops, restaurants, other places often enough that they know who you are? I do have favorite truck stops that I visit, but it can be weeks between stops. Between staff turnover and the fact that I tend to keep to myself, I don't get noticed much. Tractor question. Kind of piggybacking off my statement, complaints from other employees who might be allergic to animals. I remember when this blue truck was new to you. Is it your truck for the duration of its life with Schneider, or might you get assigned to a different tractor? I'm not an employee, I'm an independent contractor or owner-operator. This is my truck during the term of my lease. Then I have the option of turning it in or purchasing it. I'm over 2 years into a 3-year lease, and I'm currently leaning towards buying the truck at the end of the lease. But I haven't decided yet. How long does a company like Schneider keep a tractor in its fleet until it decides it is time to retire it? Is that per years in service or mileage? I'm not sure, but I think it's about 3 years. They seem to have between 350,000 and 500,000 miles on them. They're currently selling old trucks and bringing new trucks in. They have a website devoted to selling used tractors and trailers. I'll leave a link in the description for anyone who wants to see what's for sale. I know radar detectors are illegal in Virginia. Do you use one? Does Schneider have a policy against them? I don't recall what Schneider's policy is regarding radar detectors, but I don't use one because they're illegal in several states and I don't feel the need to have one. Posted speed limits in most states are adequate for highway driving in a big rig. Most are 65 to 75 miles per hour, and I rarely drive over 65 unless I'm in a crunch and have a light load. California, Western Oregon, and parts of Tennessee have truck speed limits that are 55 miles per hour, which I think is stupid. It just pisses off the car drivers when their speed limit is 65 miles per hour and they're trying to do 70. Fuel is my biggest expense, so fuel economy is always on my mind. The fuel economy sweet spot for my truck is between 60 and 65 miles per hour on level ground. If you have a microwave, is there an inverter built into the tractor? Even a small microwave needs a decent amount of wattage. Are there other outlets so you can plug in other things, such as a laptop, alarm clock, TV, radio, etc.? I purchased an inverter that I paid to have installed in the truck. It's rated at 1500 watts, but I really want a larger one, about 2500 watts. My microwave oven draws 700 watts and makes the low voltage alarm on my inverter chirp. It can't support anything that draws 1500 watts. There seems to be a table below your microwave. Is there room in the sleeper for you to have a chair behind the driver's seat so you could have a small seating, desk, table area to do paperwork or eat? Or do you have to go into the truck stop and borrow one of their tables for paperwork? No, I use the bunk to sit on while I'm working or eating in the back office. What little paperwork I have, I do in the driver's seat. It would be cool to see a video tour of the inside of the tractor sleeper showing the features and creature comforts in there. Yes, I know there probably isn't a whole lot to show, but it's still interesting to me. Bill, I've been planning for some time to do a 2-part video series of the tractor. There is a lot to show, and I think most people will find it interesting. Part 1 would be the cab or the front office up here, as well as exterior stuff to better understand the gauges, switches, and controls. Part 2 would be in the sleeper area or the back office. Questions about the job. Do you ever find yourself under the gun to get a load delivered on time? All the time. Between chasing down an empty trailer for a delivery, a pickup or delivery snafu, road construction delays, weather delays, equipment failure delays, and accidents, I often find myself behind schedule. Ever consider being an owner-operator, or is the extra expense or hassle not worth it? I've been an owner-operator since before I signed on to Schneider in 2013. Is there the opportunity to make more as owner-operator, but with it you have to deal with major repairs and the associated downtime? It's possible to make more money as an owner-operator, but for me it's about being in control. I hated not being in control as a company driver. I wouldn't know from day to day where I would be going. With Schneider's Choice program, I decide which loads to book. I decide where I'm going. I do have to say, if I was unattached without wife and kids and wasn't in my current IT career, over-the-road trucking would be an attractive job to me. I can handle being by myself for extended periods of time. Oddly enough, Bill, that's kind of how I fell into this. Being the lucky bastard that I am, I'm single and my kids are grown. I lost my fancy corporate job in 2009 during the Great Recession. That was okay with me at the time, as I'd had enough of the corporate world. But by 2011, things weren't going well financially, and a good friend suggested becoming an over-the-road driver. I plan to produce a Q&A video like this one monthly if I get enough questions. So if you've got questions about something I didn't cover here, or something occurs to you while watching a video, leave your questions in the comments section below the video on YouTube, on my website page associated with that video, or on my Facebook page. Thanks for your questions and keep them coming. Whoa, that's some bright light. Whoa, that trailer is clean. Hey, kitty. Meow. Hey. You want to be on video? Come here. Leave me alone. I don't want any part of this. Hey, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Yeah. There you go. Okay, where was I?